Hi, Peter Howlands, Vigor Transformations, and I just wanted to share with you some of the work I'm going to be doing today and right now real quickly. I'm just going to hit my kind of pecs, my chest area. This is all to facilitate better movement up and through the chest and shoulder region. So I'm just going to put this on a 2. I'm going to start kind of where I've been noticing a lot of scar tissue, right in the center, close to my sternocleidomastoid. Some of you may not have this there, that's fine. You can go off to the side a little bit. Big thing is just to get the tissue to start softening up. Once we kind of start softening it up, it starts to facilitate better movement throughout the muscle tissue all around. And that's what I'm noticing the most. So I wanted to keep my tissue kind of soft and pliable, if you will. The softer it is, the more I can move it. And I use the word spot train. But I can start to really readjust my posture, get my muscle tissue kind of flowing again, if you will, create better movement patterns. I'm going to come up a little bit. I'm going to get into that shoulder capsule area, shoulder area. Now what I notice is that pec minor comes right off there, attaches to the rib cage. And that's probably one of the bigger culprits that's kind of pulling our arms in and holding it and kind of becoming so tight. I realize once the shoulder comes in too far, it kind of renders the pec major I hate to use the word useless, but it just doesn't allow it to operate as well as it should or could. It starts to restrict movement patterns. So a lot of people will kind of notice, think their kind of chest is kind of bony. That's just the tissue that's become kind of hard and fibrous, actually, because of the shoulder kind of just getting stuck in a position even if I'm pulling back. So we kind of want to get into that groove there, loosen up that pec minor, pec major. Now I can add in a little bit of movement if I want. Now you shouldn't be doing this so hard that it hurts. Sometimes on the body in the beginning of this you'll find areas that are a little bit uncomfortable. And I've been avoiding. I'm going to palpate that area a little bit, loosen up that tissue. Again, for the most part, none of this should be painful at all. I used to, as a massage therapist, kind of lean into those kind of tight muscles, thinking that's what I needed to do. But a lot of times if you just kind of go to the opposing, so if this is hurting too much or too tight, what I should do is actually go back here first. And vice versa. So if you went here, you kind of go to the, if this was kind of too tender or sore, you're going to come to the front. You might notice at different times throughout the process, one area a little bit more tender than the other or sore. Just kind of want to leave that alone for 48 hours. Let the tissue start to kind of get used to facilitating movement patterns again. What I'm doing is kind of stretching, so I can pull a little bit. When I get up into that rear deltoid area, I realize when we're holding back too much, it doesn't allow your lat or your deltoid to fire appropriately. And all too often we're not, you can see out climbing trees, but out on the jungle gym or whatever anymore. So we're not getting those big movements. Even again, like a lat pull, you see a lot of times people in the gym kind of tensing, like this. You want the shoulders to relax, let them come up and retract. You want to be able to do a movement nice and slow before we can do it fast. So, martial arts idea was you want to learn how to do something nice and slow, controlled, before do it fast. Speed comes with form. So with accuracy, I guess. Come back in on that pec. Again, as you'll notice, I tend to kind of try and facilitate that tissue to work and move more. I'm getting in there, kind of kneading it. And the neat part is you'll really start to feel the stuff moving. hollow out that chest a little bit. Pull in, maybe flex the pecs a little bit if you want. I was always trying to flex my pecs from way out here. I realized how that was wrong for years. I want to be here, more power. Okay? I still have more room to go. What we're all doing all too often is working at endpoints. Okay, endpoint, and or not taking them far enough to the endpoint. And come back underneath. That's why some men, you could say, would have like a barrel chest. For women, this would be why gravity can win as the years go by, so to speak. It's really just more the muscle tissue. Once you kind of get it moving again, start to defy gravity. Again, none of it should be painful. Again, I want to even up on the ribs. Okay. Just muscles, intercostals in between there. Again, we end up more rounder in appearance as we age, instead of that kind of narrow, myself included. I realized even when I was a child, I was starting to take on more of that rounder appearance. Just like a lot of people. Now, if I drop the body fat up, it changes things, but it doesn't change the tightness of the muscles. It's the one thing I realized. Maybe 6-7 months ago, I really dropped my body fat. I thought it looked good, but realized it was too tight. So I didn't really worry about that right now, because if my tissue is moving better, I'm going to burn more energy. I can move better. I can do more things. And if I can do that, put two birds with one stone. Use that terminology, but you get what I'm saying. For the price of one. Is our flexibility, is our posture. Our posture is our flexibility. Hit that other side now a little bit. And that's how I'm looking at things now in terms of, if I need to fix a movement pattern, get better at doing something, I need to first understand what is restricting me, what is holding me back. All too often it is not strength. You really start getting away from that idea. Strength and stamina, I don't want to say can easily be built, but they are built much quicker than flexibility is. And if you think of any injury, non-contact, what causes it? Muscle tightness. Too tight, goes into a spasm, cramps, whatever. And now that cramp doesn't magically just kind of go away and you feel better, walk it off, the old coach would say. And it, works at the time, but I'm realizing, those cramps that I get when I was running when I was a kid, the scar tissue that would develop and it just stayed there. It's like a knot. And it just keeps bringing more and more to the party over time. So you just slowly get tighter, tighter and tighter. And then the fascia kind of almost becomes rendered, the muscle, depending on the angles, can be rendered useless for the time being until either the other tightness of the other muscles catch up. So I notice, for me, my front deltoid, and again, you think about the deltoids and the glutes, they don't have a lot of range of motion. They're kind of just there and they're just stabilizers. And when we hold it kind of end positions, such as I did for years, I realized that the tissue needs to move. Same thing with our stomach, it needs to flex and move. When we're kind of tensing or kind of hacking, is another word people will use nowadays, pack the shoulder. I kept thinking that was the right idea too, but really we're just kind of tensing when you're packing that thing. And you should be able to perform any and all movements as much as we can, as we're capable of, before trying some of these kind of harder movement patterns. I used to cringe at some of the things I would see maybe in the gym, and look back now and I can see that it was all tightness that was happening. But everybody kind of cares more about their weight, how much they're lifting, and you can train anybody or exercise. If you're moving, you're burning calories, so therefore you're going to drop. And if you're moving and lifting weight, tissue is going to rip and tear and the muscles are going to build. But everything has a cost. It's just kind of how much you're willing to pay. And I, as got older, I wanted to be as flexible as I could be and move as well as I could be as I aged. And that was my goal for exercise. And when I realized that I wasn't achieving all my goals through exercise, even with the amount of knowledge that I had, I started to search around, and this is what I found. I'm recording all of it, or as most of all of it as I can now. I realized I should be documenting this so other people can use this and understand it. All my clients that I've been doing it with find it amazing how much they can feel, how much more flexible they are after a short period of time. And again, the more of the stuff they do on their own, it's kind of why I'm making this content too, the better. No reason for a while when I was kind of figuring this out. I'm just sitting